Welcome to the video on reverse logistics in a circular supply chain. In a typical circular supply chain, the logistics involved in moving material from supplier to manufacturing facility to distributor to retailer to the customer and finally to the landfill is known as the forward supply chain or forward logistics. While the logistics involved to move the material back from the customer into the supply chain is known as reverse logistics. So let's look at the definition of reverse logistics. So the process of planning, implementing and controlling the efficient cost-effective flow of products, materials and information from the point of consumption, that is in a typical case the customer in the supply chain, back to the point of origin for returns, reuse, reconditioning, refurbishment, repair, remanufacturing or recycling is known as reverse logistics. So basically, the whole logistics to bring back the product, material and information from the customer back into different points in the supply chain, because each of these things, returns, reuse, reconditioning, refurbishment, etc., happens at different points within the supply chain. So that is known as reverse logistics. Now let's get into the details of a reverse logistics flow in a typical supply chain. Now in the new world of sustainability, we need to design supply chains to be environmentally responsible for the entire life cycle of a product. It is no longer sufficient to just have the logistics till the customer and then forget about it. A circular supply chain or closed loop supply chain integrates both the forward logistics and reverse logistics and focuses on the complete chain of operations from the birth to the death of a product. So this is a typical closed loop supply chain, as you can see. Now as part of the forward logistics, a product starts its journey at the new service or product development process step, which is this one here. This is where the inputs are received from the marketing team on demand for a new product or service as per the customer's requirement. So as the requirement is received from the customer, the new product or service development process initiates where they start designing the new product. So from here, the design and specifications are sent to the production process, which is here. The manufactured products are then sent to the retailer through the distributor and eventually is transported to the customer. Now let's look at the reverse logistics. Now the reverse logistics starts from the customer, right? So this is the start point of a reverse logistics flow. Now a firm must first establish a convenient collection point to receive the used goods from the final customer and transport the goods to a returns processor, which is a facility owned by the manufacturer or outsourced to a supplier. So this is the flow from the customer to the returns processor. Now the returns processor facility will be responsible for disassembling products and extracting any remaining value from them, such as any reusable parts, etc. Now there are multiple possibilities with the products. So let's look at each of them. So the first one is repair. Now if the item can be repaired, then it should be repaired and then sent back to the customer. So once you receive the product, you realize that okay, the product can be repaired, then it can be returned to the customer from the returns processor directly. So this is your first flow that we looked at. Next is reuse. So if it is found that the product is leased, it can be cleaned and transported to the distributor or retailer for reuse by another customer. So this is the reuse flow. So this is, I'll say, second. So as soon as you find that okay, this product which has been returned by the customer can be reused by another customer, it can be sent back to the distribution or retailing facility from where it can be sent to another customer. The third one is remanufacturing. The product could be remanufactured by tearing it down, then rebuilding it with new parts as needed, and returning it to the distribution channel as needed. So you can take the product, remanufacture it, and then send it back to the retailer or the distributor, and from there it can again be sent to the customer. Fourth is recycling. The components or the product can be recycled and resent to the production process as raw material. So while the first three we saw could be sent either directly to the customer or to the distributor or retailer, the recycled part needs to be sent to the production process so that it can be used as a raw material. The fifth one is waste disposal. Now there could be some material which cannot be reclaimed and needs to be properly disposed of, so that goes into the waste disposal. The sixth flow is the product information. So during this whole process, useful information is gathered which can further reduce the wastage and increase longevity of the product. This information should be gathered from the returns processor and then passed on to the new service or product development team. So they can do further improvements so that the waste disposal can be reduced and the product's life can be increased. So this is a typical reverse logistics flow. Thank you.